talk about JavaScript classes. We're going to talk about what are classes. We're going to talk about what are objects and how to create class and object and attributes and methods and what is a constructor method. So let's get into one example. So what is class? So classes are basically a template or blueprint for creating objects, and an object is an instance of a class. So, and in order to create class, we use the keyword class, and then we use class name. For example, let's create an employee class. And then you open the curly bracket and within the class. So class has attributes and methods, and attributes, or sometimes they call it properties, defines the characteristic of an object such as name, size, color, etc. And a method is basically an action or a function that can perform something. And every class contains a special method called constructor, which is used to initializing an object. So there can be only one constructor in each class. So let's create our constructor. So we have constructor, and within the constructor we have the parameter, let's say employee name and ID, salary, and we have this constructor method, and we get our parameter name equal to name, and then same with ID and salary. So we have constructor method, we have our properties, and let's create also method. One method, let's have a method called calculate monthly paycheck. So this method return our paycheck, basically monthly paycheck. So return, let's say, what is our salary divided by 12. Okay, so we have our constructor method with the properties, and we have our method calculate monthly paycheck. So we have our class, which is a template or a blueprint. Now let's create object. So let's create a variable. Let's call it employee 1. This is our object. So now you can create an object using keyword new. So you say new, and then we employ the class name. So every time we use this keyword new, and we call the class, it basically calls this constructor method. So we will passing the, let's say, employee name, let's say James, the badge number, let's say 2534. Let's say the salary is 60,000. And you can create multiple objects. Let's create another one. Employee 2 is another instance. New employee, and let's call him David. And the badge number, let's say 6545, and the salary, let's say $55,000. Okay, so now let's let's calculate a paycheck for James. Okay, so console log. We can the instance name employee 1. Let's calculate paycheck. We call the method, and let's check it on the terminal. Oh, we have to save, obviously. Yes, 5,000. Okay, let's summarize what we discussed. And here, so we talk about classes are a template for creating objects, and an object is an instance of a class. We talk about classes as attributes and methods, and attributes or property define the characteristics such as name, size, color, and the method is basically a function that can be performed within a class. And every class contains a special method called Constructor, which is used for initializing an object. Initializing an object, and there can be only one constructor for each class. And in order to create multiple objects, you use keyword new, which when you use that, it calls the constructor.